For my final research paper, I decided to do it on analytic reading strategy and sentence highlighting and how the two go hand in hand. I'm going to begin by showing you my graphic organizer, which is what you're looking at now. I will then read you the essay and then show you the lesson plan that I provided, as well as the individual worksheet, group assessment, and the 3-part assignment that I had came up with for the students. I began with a lesson plan and an individual assignment where I created an individual worksheet for students and a color code for them to go by for sentence highlighting that highlighted the verbs, nouns, pronouns, main characters, theme, and key points into 2 books, Matilda, James, and the Giant Peach. I also provided sample interview questions for students to come up with and do peer assessments with in groups of 2, and I typed up an essay that went with the analytic reading strategy. To begin, the analytic reading strategy is a strategy that teachers use to aid students in comprehension, understanding how to break down sentences, and structure formatting. Sentence highlighting goes with analytic reading because analyzing is similar to highlighting the action of the tenses, the sentence structure, same as identifying the verb and nouns in a book. Analyzing is the way students can break down the sentence formatting to better comprehend the meaning. Students can use analytic reading to break down sentences and make it easier to be read and understood. Sentence highlighting allows students to highlight key points of a book, point out text, verbs, nouns, characters, main ideas, or key terms. Sentence highlighting is a part of the analytic reading strategy. According to the Learning Center at learningcenter.unc.edu, sentence highlighting consists of knowing the purpose of the text, the who, what, when, why, and where. Knowing what the action is and what the subject is about allows the reader to understand the subject or main idea of the text. Breaking down the text provides the reader with the when and where the setting has taken place, which coincides with the action, past tense, pretense, happening currently. The why will come after the reader comprehends the main idea and after concluding the text and summarization. Using sentence highlighting as part of analytic reading helps students identify words that are unfamiliar or words that require explanation or definition. Sentence highlighting speaks to spatial visualization that connects vocabulary and words to intellect or interpersonal feelings. That speaks to a child's personal experiences, feelings, or imagination. There are many effective reading strategies, but analytic reading can apply to the visualization process, as well as verbal and nonverbal. Some students understand best through a visual aid, while others can better grasp a text or sentence by it being read to them. Analyzation can speak to both visual and verbal by breaking down the sentence structure and formatting it into more understandable words. For those who require a visual aid, it can allow a teacher to provide a graphic demonstration. Some texts are too complicated to comprehend, or simply the vocabulary is ahead of age frame. For students who are younger, the vocabulary needs to be lessened and broken down into a format that is better understood with age-leveled vocabulary. Analytic reading can be used for all text, from a book, instruction, poems, or simply your peer review. Analyzation is used by teachers and students and is easy to apply. That is why sentence highlighting can go hand in hand with the analytic reading strategy. Every text is analyzed to some form. For example, when you provide classroom instruction on paper, the students will visualize the paper, review the questions or pertaining information, and will review the instruction. Though it is done without much thought, everything is analyzed. Analytic reading speaks to a deeper thought process, breaking down the sentence and sentence formatting. Every student should be taught how to break down a sentence, especially complex, and find its simplicity. Doing so provides a framework for understanding the meaning, subject, theme, characters, and main idea of any book or poem. Analyzation applies to every sentence and understanding its content. I use the 2 books, Matilda and James and the Giant Peach, both created by Donald Dow, with reading levels of 3 through 5 and interest levels of 4 through 8. Based on the easy-to-read vocabulary and interest levels of these 2 books, I created an individual worksheet for the students to complete on each. We would discuss and define the value of the sentence highlighting and go over what the analytic reading strategy is. We would review the definitions of each and go over and how it applies to reading a book. I believe a proper strategy to introduce each book would be brought about in the same manner. Each book would be read aloud as a class. Once the book was read together, I would apply the students with a paper version of each book for them to read, use, and write on. The students would be instructed to do all three parts of the assignment. The first part is individual work, where the students would review the instructions, and then the students would do part one on their own. Part one requires the students to read the book to themselves, and then with the provided color code listed after the instructions on the assignment, students would then identify with the correct colors the verbs, nouns, pronouns, characters, main idea, and key points of each book. This is where the students would then learn how to use effective sentence highlighting and how to break down the sentences. Through doing so, the analytic reading strategy would become more clear. After sentence highlighting, the students would complete part one by answering the questions regarding the book. The next part of the assignment, part two, consists of students coming up with 10 interview questions relevant to the story. I provided sample questions for the students to get a general idea of what to ask. Students are to provide their own questions and then on paper answer their questions. They will gather in groups of 2 to complete the last part of section 2 for peer interview. They will take turns asking each other interview questions. Once they have completed their questionnaire, the students would then do part 3 as a group work and assess one another's answers by comparing and contrasting their answers from the students' answers. The students will then find similarities and differences between their answers and write it down on a separate answer sheet. The students will discuss their work done together and do peer evaluation. This will conclude the assignment and assessment. Though Matilda and James and the Giant Peach are both appropriate for 4th graders, I have gathered 8 other books that would fit into the lesson and lesson plan provided. Reading levels from Scholastic are provided by grade levels, being explained by the number. For example, 1 through 4 would define a reading level as 1st grade through 4th grade, and interest levels are provided with the same, based on numbers. For example, an interest level of 4 through 8 would mean the approximate interest age range is 4th grade through 8th grade. The book Tales of a 4th Grade Nothing by Judy Blume received on Scholastic a reading level of 1 through 5 and an interest level of 4 through 8. Another intriguing book is The Magic School Bus Inside a Hurricane by Joanna Cole, receiving a reading level of 2 through 4 and a similar interest level of 1 through 4. There are several Magic School Bus books that have all the same general ratings for each reading and interest level. Any of them are sufficient for students to read, and most are suitable to challenge and build on a 4th grade's reading level. Another book receiving a similar reading level of 2 through 5 and interest level of 4 through 8 is A Chocolate Touch by Patrick Catling and Margaret Apple. The Whipping Boy by Sid Fleischman had a reading level of 2 through 5 and an interest level of 4 through 8. One of my personal favorite books is Diary of a Wimpy Kid by Jeff Kinney with an interest level of 4 through 8 and reading level of 3rd to 5th grade. Another sufficient book would be The Inside Out and Back Again by Tan-Hai Lei. The book is enjoyed by 3rd to 5th grade and has an interest level of 5 through 8. The author Mary Pope Osborne has created several intriguing books from ages 1st grade all the way to 6th. She created 2 books, Dinosaurs Before Dark and Season of the Sandstorms. Both books received a reading level of 3 through 6 and an interest level of 4th grade to 8th grade. All these books are considered appropriate for 4th graders to read, and they all have interest levels to match. The lesson plan created for the analytic reading strategy would go with any of the named books. According to Charles Darwin University from learnline.edu, sentence highlighting is an effective way to comply with analytic reading. It goes beyond breaking down structure and formatting. Comprehension is the basic definition to analyzation. Students need effective reading strategies in order to be proper readers and read at their own grade level or higher. Several colleges across the state and some reading sites have certain tests that can be taken to know if you are an effective reader or to point out where you may require assistance. For example, James Madison University's online website has a page specifically for analytic reading at jmu.edu, where you can find a test where you can inquire about if you're an effective reader or not. There are several sites on the web that you can go to learn about analytic reading and how sentence highlighting makes a difference. At missionliteracy.com, you will find different styles that explains arguing, extending, language, and structure, all in which are part of analyzing and highlighting. The reason sentence highlighting is part of the analytic reading strategy is because it allows you to break down complex sentences and highlight key terms or words that you may not be familiar with. After all, analyzation is how we are able to comprehend text of any kind, from books, poems, magazines, instructions, websites, and more. In order to be up close and personal with a book, students need to know how to highlight key phrases, main characters, terms, words they are not familiar with, and understand how to go back and break them down, define them, and apply them to the analytic reading strategy. Understanding key points and terms is crucial to the critical learning and the thinking process. If permitted or instructed by their teachers, students can use the phrase finder or word definer at rewordify.com. On there, students can have fun playing with vocabulary and get a better comprehension of certain phrases or definitions, which best applies to the strategy of analytic reading. Making connections can be rewarding in itself for the young and not so confident reader.